Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook Podcast here. Our first look at Friday's 13-game main slate. James, 13 games. We've been looking for some of these larger slates. We had just 4 games on Thursday, which made it pretty difficult to break down and build lineups here when we had so few options to go around. But at least with 13 games, we have plenty of pitching, plenty of hitting, plenty of value to go about our day when building these lineups and breaking it down today, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting pitching on the slate. The return of one Christopher Sale, if that's his real name. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Christopher, like his named Chris or something.
Oh, it's Chris Sale on DraftKings.
Right, so I guess not Christopher. Okay, you're right. A lot of interesting names across the board on both sides of the baseball. Let's see, no Coors Field. I know I've been mentioning that a lot, but I just continue to be
so good.
Yeah, it just feels so. Nothing worse than a 13-game slate with Coors, because then you're picking through 26 teams, and you're like, all right,
to fit in a Coors.
How do I? Yeah, like how? Yeah. So this is a great slate. It's a Dallas Keuchel-led slate. Just a lot of good here, John. A lot of good on this Friday. On this.
We thought that about the last Dallas Keuchel slate, and he goes and shuts out the Diamondbacks. So
he shut him out, but like he didn't have any strikeouts. He allowed 10 base runners, and he allowed like 10 stolen bases as well.
No,
so
I'm going back to the well. I'm just saying like how tilting that was.
Yeah, that's
going all in on the D-backs that day, no dice. So
yeah, that's fair.
All right. Well, let's just waste no time. Let's just get into it because we have 13 games to talk about, which means we got a lot of pitching to break down. Corbin, I guess it helps if I would share the screen here. We got Corbin Burns. We have Blake Snell, Luis Castillo, Andrew Abbott, Charlie Morton, Justin Verlander, Jose Berrios, all up over $9,000 on the slate.
Yeah, hard not to love Corbin Burns. I know he didn't look amazing in his last 2 starts. That's because the strikeouts were down. The White Sox present a big strikeout ceiling. We just saw it the other day with Clark Schmidt. I know Garrett Cole didn't get us the strikeouts, but with Burns, we definitely have that strikeout appeal. You know, we just saw as recently as 720 and 714. There's double-digit strikeout upside in there. So I love Corbin Burns here. I'm okay getting to Blake Snell. He continues to strike a lot of people out. He continues to not allow any runs, really.
Look at these walks.
It's just the walks. The walks are obviously back to where, like, he doesn't pitch deep into games, and he had seemingly figured that out. And maybe he's just playing too much MLB The Show and, not getting enough bullpen work in. But
right now, the best value to Blake Snell is the fact that the Padres will let him throw 108 pitches.
Yes.
Right? Like, we're not worried about him coming out at 90 pitches to start an inning. They let him go. They just let him throw. So.
They do let him go. So I'm okay getting to Snell. Same with Castillo.
I don't know,
but
man. Baltimore's offense is power right now.
They are. And obviously the home run ball bit us again with Luis Castillo. It's all on like a day. It all depends on the day. If you catch Luis Castillo on a day where he's keeping the ball in the yard, he's going to have a great day. And if you catch him on a day where he's not, look out. You're going to get burned. Andrew Abbott is interesting, although he's coming off his back-to-back worst 2 starts against Washington and the Cubs.
We talked about this, right? The FanGraph numbers for Andrew Abbott were not good.
No.
He was pitching through some pretty bad number projections there for a while because he was missing bats. You got him against 2 teams that don't really strike out. They put the ball in play on him. They're scoring. Now you have Pittsburgh here who they actually put some runs up on the Braves pitching staff in their last series here. I'm not calling them a great offense by any sense of the imagination here, but, they got the Fried, they got the Elder in back-to-back starts here, putting up some runs. So, where does that leave Abbott at 98 if, once again, you go look at FanGraphs and the numbers don't look great for him when it comes to expected DRA, FIP, XFIP, those numbers?
Abbott's probably last on this in this tier because I think it's I like Charlie Morton in this spot, even though he's been struggling a little bit. The Mets offense outside of Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor has been struggling a lot.
Kion and Kyle Hendricks have shut down the for the most part the Mets last.
Other than Alonso, it's just been Alonso. He's hit like four home runs in his last 4 games, 5 home runs in his last 4 games. Verlander is interesting, but the Angels have shown a lot of thump. And then I know Barrios has been good, but like, do we want to attack the Cubs offense? It's really like, for me, it's probably Corbin Burns and then everybody, like on a tier by himself, and then everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the way I kind of approach this myself here, I like Corbin Burns, and then I don't know if I'm really using anybody else in this group. I mean, Morton. We mentioned the Morton recent numbers, but his numbers 2 starts against the Mets been terrible. 8 earned in 10 innings against them, and I have questions about pretty much everybody else in that tier. So I kind of pop myself down, maybe into the next grouping of players here. Mr. Lance Lynn's on this slate. He's home against Colorado. Michael Kopech gets Milwaukee at home. Detmer's on the road against Houston. John Gray gets San Francisco on the road. Chris Sale does make his return against Detroit. Gibson against Seattle. Skubal against Boston. Sanchez here against Minnesota maybe is a little interesting. Oviedo's been pitching really well at 7K. So I think there's a case for like you pay up for Burns and then find your mid-tier play.
Yeah, Lynn's actually pretty great here against Colorado. I like that quite a bit. We just have to worry about Nolan Jones, Ryan.
Runs, man.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that's obviously
Nolan
that's
Jones. Nolan Jones is taking him deep at least once,
or McMahon, or both. But if they're 2 solo shots, and he has 9 Ks, right? Like it's he'll have a good start.
Listen, he gave up 3 home runs to the A's. They were all solo shots. He still came out with 24 fantasy.
And he's another one, even though he's now pitching for the Dodgers, 93, 96 pitches. So like still like a little less of a leash as we've seen Dave Roberts give other guys.
Yeah.
I probably can't get to Kopech. He had a no-hitter going, and then like suddenly 4 walks and 3 hits and 2 runs, and he still only has 14 fantasy points. Detmer's, I am like high in Detmer's strikeout ceiling. He really let us down in his last start, and
not doing that against Houston.
Houston's a tough offense. Definitely some mild interest in John Gray, although he's been
he's been one of the worst pitchers in baseball for a while. So
yeah, San Francisco is also pretty bad on the flip side.
Yeah,
I think what's really intriguing, I'm not going to get the Sale because the pitch count. He only threw 53 pitches in his last rehab, so like just can't do it. I do think the other side is a little interesting because we've talked about it a lot with Boston, and I know Devers hits lefties well, and Yoshida's been fine. The lineup is just riddled with lefties, and I know Trevor Story being there is obviously
helps a little bit more. Yeah,
it does help.
So when Rob Refsnyder's your leadoff hitter,
dude, yeah, I mean that's like not overly concerning, and Skubal, dude. Other than that Miami start, the strikeouts the last couple games, 6 against Tampa over 5 1/3, 9 against San Francisco.
Listen, Cole Reagans just beat Boston, struck out 11. So, I mean, Skubal, I think a more talented starting pitcher than Cole Reagans is. No offense there, sir. So, I'm with you there. But as I said, I think Sanchez is pretty interesting here. Yeah, tough game against Kansas City, but who hasn't had a tough game against Kansas City lately? The way that they've been hitting. So you got him against Minnesota, and we have a lefty here against Minnesota. And what's Minnesota's lineup? Largely left-handed bats.
Yep.
So I think Sanchez here is actually a pretty interesting play at 72, especially since, we're attacking Dallas Keuchel. So, we got a good spot here for a win, I think, for Sanchez at $7,200. And then, as I mentioned, Oviedo, then unreal here. A blip against the Angels. But really since the beginning of July, San Francisco 7 innings, 1 run. San Diego 6 innings, 1 run. Detroit 7 innings, 1 run. Milwaukee 7 shutout. If that offense is coming alive and we're not in on Abbott today, Oviedo's really coming through, and we played him for a little bit at stretches this year. He's been up and down, but right now he's one of the hotter pitchers in all of baseball.
Yeah, the only concern with Oviedo is the walks, and then the left-handed bats. But as long as he's keeping the ball in the yard, which he's done in the last 3 starts, there shouldn't be. He should have another good start here. So I'm with you. I think we don't really need to go much further down either because it gets super ugly after that.
You're not going to see if Austin Gomber can repeat his 6 shutout inning performance I mean, look at
brutal.
these. Look at Ozzy Gomber, man. 6-2 shutout, 6-2, 6 shutout.
Yep. Against like two back-to-back San Diego, St. Louis too. I would maybe take a shot on Paul Blackburn at 69. He's been pretty good. Nice last 2 starts, but don't really need to do it when you can play Oviedo.
Yeah, there's nothing else down here. I would 1,000% agree with you. I wouldn't touch much. Looks like we'll be playing some Kansas City again, though. Adam Wainwright on the mound for the Cardinals here. Let's move on over to the hitter position here. Again, there's plenty of pitchers we like to target. So offensively, where are you looking to go when we're spending up here, James?
I mean, the Braves are going to stand out right away. Tyler McGill has not been any good this year. Made his return to the major leagues 2 months after being sent down. 4 2/3, 9 hits, 5 earned, 2 home runs, and now has to go against Matt Olson, who homered on Thursday for the 40th time of the year. He has to go up against Austin Riley, who's been on fire lately. Plus, Ozzy Albies, who's hitting right-handed pitching almost not as well as he's hitting left-handed pitching, but he's been really, really good in pretty much every category. So right off the bat, it's going to be really hard to afford those 3 guys, but the 3 Braves right off rip stand out a lot. How about some Nolan Arenado against, again, Kansas City going to go with the opener strategy with Angel Zerpa, but depending on how long they go with Zerpa, he's pitched 3 innings 2 outings ago. If he is in the game for an extended period of time, that means maybe multiple bats for Nolan Arenado against a lefty. So I like Arenado quite a bit. I'm okay playing Harper against Keuchel. Keuchel stinks, and I'm willing to test that theory with any split, righty or lefty. What's your take on just playing Pete Alonso right now while he's hot? I know it's Charlie Morton, but this guy is hitting so many home runs.
Yeah, he's a one-off play for me. That's fine. I'm not looking to play Mets, but I'll play Pete Alonso at this point.
Same. And if you want to go to Baltimore, as you mentioned, against Luis Castillo, Adley Rutschman now homers in 2 of his last 3 games. He has 4 double-digit fantasy point outings in his last 5.
Yep.
So if you want to spend up at catcher, Rutschman, and then Trey Turner, 5,200, I think is a good play as well.
Again, there's a lot of great spend ups. Again, across the board, because there's so many games on today, you can really go in any direction. It's like find your stack, find your build. Like Bobby Witt against Wainwright. Like I'll definitely be having some Bobby Witt against Wainwright because I'm going to go down again and go play Michael Massey. Who hopefully where's Massey's? Did they move his position on me? Second base 3K. So still far too cheap at home, going up against Adam Wainwright. Like sign me up there for some value. You look at first base and some spots that we can take a look at for some value. Maybe Brandon Belt, Ryan O'Hearn's 3K. Verlander gets Moustakas. If you think that the Angels offense can still do some power. Definitely a lot of options here for value. Notably, where are you looking to go for some value in the infield?
So I'm gonna go back to catcher and go to Wilson Contreras, $3,500. He's hit lefties extremely well this year. He's hit righties extremely well this year as well. So I'd go there. First base, Brandon Belt, 3,200.
Yep.
Gets Javier Assad. We know Belt has the home run upside. We're looking for. You mentioned Massey already. I keep telling you, and it keeps coming through. And John, now we do not have to decide on whether to play Massey or Bryce Terang because Bryce Terang now also has shortstop eligibility, second and shortstop, hitting 379 over his last 10 hits in all but 1 game. He's the guy who can steal bases and hit for a little pop too. And he gets Michael Kopech, and I'm more likely to stack Brewers than I am use Michael Kopech. So Bryce Terang is probably going to head into the slate as if not my favorite value, one of right at the top of the list.
So not Pablo Reyes. Not Pablo Reyes isn't your favorite value on the slate. 3 hits and 2 of the last 3, $2,600.
Yes.
Finally gave him and Story dual eligibility, so they can both play second short. So
good.
You can pick it out there. I agree with you. Again, I think because it's such a large slate, there's a lot of different ways to go. when it comes to value. Tommy Edman against a lefty, is one of our favorite spots to attack here as well. Great numbers for him. If you wanted to go and get some more of that cheap cards, can fit into some lineup builds. Has that dual position eligibility that we're looking for there as well. Let's move on over to the outfield position. Guys are up at the top. We know about them. 6,700 Acuna, 66 Ohtani, Mookie versus a lefty with that dual positional eligibility as well. But we haven't shied away from Jordan or Tucker against lefties, even though Detmers is on the mound here. Yelich gets Kopech. Soto gets Ryan Nelson, who has ridiculously bad numbers against left-handed hitters here. So, again, as we always kind of say with these top price outfielders, like find your stack, find your build, and just plug in the best hitters on the team.
Yeah, I got nothing negative against Tucker or Alvarez. And Detmers has not been great against lefties either. So you could definitely get to some Houston guys here. Yelich, I love against Kopech. I'm going to be targeting Michael Kopech, targeting against Michael Kopech quite often here. I love that. Under like 5K, things get a little interesting. Like Castellanos, who you pointed out on Thursday's podcast after the double dong and now is coming, back to life. He gets a matchup against Dallas Keuchel. And did I skip over Schwarber 51? Like Schwarber, Castellanos. Philly's a really expensive stack, but you could play either of them. Schwarber when he's homering and when he's going good, you could play him against anybody. He's hit 3 home runs.
Against Keuchel, right? Alec Boehm and Stott. Alec Boehm for sure, right? Stott,
dude, Alec. Yes, for sure.
Guys that we can go there. Because, again, Philly rather lefty-ish heavy, but definitely have guys that can do damage against left-sided pitchers there as well. So, I'm with you, 100%. Moving down the list, Nick Castellanos, another one at $4,800. Can go there. If you want to go Newbar against Zerpa, could run that off. He's on there. Merrifield leads off for them. Sal Frelick keeps hitting up to $4,500 now, though. Big price bump for our guy here. So maybe a little tough. You mentioned lefties against Oviedo. Friedel, $4,500. Michael Harris, 44, still really cheap for what his production's been lately. Nolan Jones, as we mentioned, 41. So some good 4K outfielders here.
Yeah, I like all those guys. If you're not playing Skubal, Duvall always has power upside from the right side. He just hasn't been the same since his IL stint, which is unfortunate.
2 stolen bases for Story the other day. When does Sedmo come back? He's in 4th rehab game on Tuesday, or Wednesday. So
maybe. They've been this good. They've been this good in winning the division without Cedric Mullins. Not that he was having like the most amazing season, but just makes you think like how good they are at full strength.
I agree, 100%. Under 4K guys, you could go Lourdes here against Snell because he's just so wild.
Yep.
Rosario, you mentioned lefties against Berrios at Hap, and Tachman all there as well.
If you're not playing John Gray, you mentioned that he's been so bad. I know it's in San Francisco. Like Conforto's $3,800. Sable 36, Jock Peterson 4K. Like you could get to 1 or 2 of those San Francisco outfielders too.
Sure. Let's see if we got any like true values. Melendez, keep rocking him out. Double dong the other day, 3,300 for sure. Ruff Snyder, will probably lead off. You have Walker against Zerpa down here. Kike, you've talked about how good he's been since going back to the Dodgers. He gets Gomber 3K, could be good value exposure to the Dodgers lineup there as well. Waters, I think Waters actually hits righties better than lefties, if I remember. He's a switch hitter. I think he's better from the left side of the plate. I looked at his numbers against for the Thursday slate when Paxton was on the mound. He's a much better hitter against righties. So if you want to go Drew Waters, who's actually hitting for some power, has speed, I think Waters again get a little bit more of that exposure to the Royals here. Feels pretty good to me. Any other guys under 3K for you?
I mean, if Henry Davis gets Andrew Abbott, Connor Joe is 3K as well. Connor Joe led off the other day against a lefty. Homers in 2 of his last 3 games that he started. I think both those guys are in play. Like they've been like shuffling around their leadoff hitters and stuff, but I do think we could see Connor Joe back in the leadoff hole. Especially if Abbott's going to continue to struggle. I'm okay getting into some Pittsburgh. I mean, we like the pitcher, right? So we need their offense to score runs for that pitcher. Anything else like really, really cheap? I don't see anything that's like free, John. I don't know if you see anything different.
No, not really. All right, let's go. Let's go build a lineup then. Let's go up at pitching here. I think we'll plug Corbin Burns in, and then
probably Oviedo, right?
Oviedo or Sanchez? Which one do you like better?
Oh yeah. I don't care. I like them both. Truthfully, whatever.
Okay. I feel a little better about Sanchez.
Okay.
Than Oviedo.
Okay.
Catcher, you like Contreras? I'm in there. That's fine by me. First base. Who do we want to rock?
I mean, Braves look really good. Alec Boehm, if we wanted to play Phillies, 4,700.
Let's see if we can figure out the Braves situation. So we probably gonna have to play Massey.
Terang at short, we could too.
Or we could do Terang instead, maybe, or both.
We could technically play them both.
Massey.
Because I mean, what's his name? He's been so bad.
Yeah.
McGill.
He has been bad. All right. Do we want Riley or Acuna?
Probably Ronald, but oof.
He's not cheap, but we have.
I know.
Maybe we could play Jake Myers at 25.
Could we do something where we're playing?
Waters was 27, right?
Waters was 27. Could we do instead of doing Acuna, what's the look if we do Harris, Riley? Michael Harris is just progressively getting more expensive.
2,500, which we just had with Jake Myers. We can also go off Contreras and go a cheaper catcher play here.
I think Myers got. No, he's playing.
Did he get sent down?
No. We're good.
We could go Endy against Babbitt.
Yeah, we could. Or
that gives us a $3,500 outfielder.
$3,500.
Yep. Melendez.
Yep, works.
So, example lineup for everybody there. Going out again. Corbin Burns. We got Sanchez here for the Phillies. Matt Olson, Michael Massey, Austin Riley, Bryce Terang, Michael Harris, Drew Waters, and MJ Melendez. Giving us some Royals against Wainwright. Gives us 3 Braves here going up against McGill. Punt with Endy Rodriguez at catcher. Just again, 13 games. We'll have the full playbook out. Of course, James and I will be back live 5 o'clock Eastern time. So if you have any questions, you can get us in the Discord. You can find us on Twitter. The Twitter handles that are showing right there. And we will